Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Bogart on Movies, airing as always right here on the place to be, WXEL TV, located in the heart of Palm Beach County. Today we've got an especially interesting show for you. For my classic pick, we're doing something a bit different. We're going to look not at a movie but at two of the classic comedy teams, Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, and Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. And for my pick, we're sticking with comedy and a movie that signaled the coming out of a superstar. And you could see it happening right on screen. It's Tom Cruise in Risky Business. Plus, we'll of course have Carla's Campy Pics, and I'll answer a few of your emails. A lot to get to, so let's go. Cop buddy movies have been a Hollywood staple forever, but only a few of them really work, and none of them, at least on the big screen, pair two females. This time the buddies are a straight-arrow, uptight FBI agent who's paired with a foul-mouthed, skirt-the-law Boston cop. It's the Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy vehicle, The Heat, and it does work.
FBI, we recently got intel that you brought in a dealer, Terrell Rojas.
Hey, look who's here!
Detective Mullers isn't back from lunch yet.
I'm sure he won't mind.
Well, he's a she.
Oh, it's on! She's crazy! I'm gonna make you bend over, and I'm gonna reach up into your pocket and get the keys to your house. And then I'm gonna drive there and stab you with your own badge. That's what I'm gonna do.
Let's loosen that up.
Oh, surprise!
Come on, man.
Get out, bull in China shop.
What part of out do you not understand?
You want to go out? We'll take you out.
Ah! I can't hold you.
All right, let's pull him over. Come on.
No, wait, I'm not getting anywhere, really. I can't lift him up.
He's all right? The metal car broke his fall? That was pretty awesome.
You are killing us out there. You don't fit in.
I am a federal agent.
What are those?
They're Spanx. They're Spanx. They just hold everything together. Why? What's gonna come popping out?
Now, if you're looking for a brilliant film that delves into the human condition, this is not that. The story's just your basic, yeah, there's a crime, so let's find out who did it. And the script is almost an afterthought. Citizen Kane, it is not. But who cares? What it is funny.
That's one of the better Jesus sports-themed paintings I've seen. It's very good. Nice.
Are you a knock?
I'm sorry?
Are you a knock?
A knock. Sorry, I don't know what that is.
A knock.
A knock. Am I speaking Japanese?
Yeah, listen to him.
I'm gonna sound it out for you. Are you, or are you not a knock? Like Johnny Depp in 21 Jump Street.
I see. Okay, a narc.
A knock, yes.
Yes. No,
What was I saying?
I was missing the R when you were saying, I heard narc.
What are you? What are you doing here? What are you doing?
I'm a federal agent. I'm a special agent.
Are you a boy or a girl?
It's a fair question. I'm female.
No kidding.
All woman.
From the get-go? No operation?
From birth, yes.
How you get that close to shave on your face?
I need to go, but I'll be back to
Nice knowing you.
yes, thank you.
It's very funny. Bullock and McCarthy are Hollywood gold together. Bullock perfect in all her uptightness, and McCarthy again is the loud, obnoxious character she's perfected. No Oscars here, but you'll have a great time. You'll get a good laugh, and you'll be entertained. This one gets a 3.5 from me. One thing before we move on. Please, Hollywood, no Heat 2. Comedy sequels never work. They're never as good as the first, so try and resist. But unfortunately, we all know you can't, we all know you won't. That was so funny. Next up, it may be me, but it seems that blowing up the White House is de rigueur these days. The latest incarnation being White House Down, directed by Roland Emmerich and starring Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. Going in, I figured I wouldn't like this movie, but shock of all shocks, it wasn't that bad.
Showtime!
What's happening? My daughter's downstairs.
Where are you?
Alpha 1, do you have the target? Roger that. We're holding the president in the library.
That's a library. Don't go in there. Just... Oh, this is so stupid. You mean Mr. President? You ever been rock climbing?
What, we climbing this?
Unless you got a better idea, yeah. By the way, John Cale.
James Sawyer.
Now, the movie's about Capitol Cop John Cale, played by Tatum, who's applying for the Secret Service, and he gets trapped in the White House with his daughter and the president, Jamie Foxx, after a terrorist takeover. As most of you know, I'm not a Jamie Foxx fan, and he doesn't change my mind here. He's just not believable as the president. He's very wooden, and what's up with that weird accent? He's just not very good. Channing Tatum, however, who I've railed on in the past, changes my mind a little bit. He's still not a good actor, but he may have found a niche.
Look, we gotta punch a hole in this fence soon or we're dead in the water.
Weapons lock. Said there was a weapons lock in the back.
Jackpot! What you got? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Take that thing that's in your right hand. That's a blast shield. Perfect.
Get me to the fence, Cal.
I know you're into peace and all that. You gotta stick that thing out there and go to work. Damn right. Hold it with 2 hands, President. Here it goes.
I lost the rocket launcher.
You lost? How do you lose a rocket launcher?
Look, this is not an Oscar winner. The script is lousy and at times borders on the ridiculous. The acting isn't very good, but it's an action movie, and there's a ton of that. Director Roland Emmerich is at his blowing up everything in sight best. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of noise, and a lot of tension. If you like that, you'll like the movie. Gets a 2.5 out of 5 from me. Now for our final new movie this week, and for that we turn to a film that has gotten absolutely blasted, and deservedly so, by other reviewers. This mess is brought to you by the team who made all those Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It's the new Johnny Depp, put a mask on me and I'll play another dumb role movie, The Lone Ranger.
8 men rode into canyons. I dug 7 graves. The men you seek think you are dead. Better to stay that way.
You want me to wear a mask?
Justice is what a man must take for himself.
You're dead. Not yet.
It was a ranger riding a white horse. Got some lunatic Indian with him. They coming for you.
If these men represent the law, I'd rather be an outlaw.
He's coming for you.
Let him go!
This bomb bills itself as the return of an American legend. It may well be the death of an American legend. Armie Hammer plays the Lone Ranger. You remember him as the Winklevoss twins in the Facebook movie Social Network. He was good in that, but here he just doesn't get comfortable in the role. And Depp, who I've always thought to be vastly overrated anyway, is just awful. He's ridiculous. In fact, the only time the movie's any good at all is when Depp isn't on camera. The rest of the cast isn't bad. Barry Pepper, Bill Fichtner, Tom Wilkinson. They're all okay, but the movie, at times it's embarrassing.
Hey, hold it right there. I'm afraid I have to take you in. You hear me? You speak English, don't you?
Hold!
By the authority granted me by the state of Texas, I'm hereby arresting you.
You all right there, little brother?
Fine. Just taking this man into custody.
Uh-huh.
That's just lovely. To think this cost $225 million to make, On CNBC, they were talking about whether this was such a bomb it would affect Disney's stock. I don't think that's the case, but this was really bad. It only gets 1.5 out of 5 from me. But, dear viewers, let's leave this segment on a positive note, a return to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
The Lone Ranger. A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver. The Lone Ranger. Hi-Yo Silver! Away! With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Your gun to kill bad men.
I'm not going to do any killing.
You will not defend yourself?
Oh, I'll shoot if I have to. But I'll shoot to wound, not to kill. A man must die. It's up to the law to decide that. Not the person behind a six-shooter.
That's right, Kimosabe.
Ah, Clayton Moore and Jay Silverheels, where are you now that we need you? I'll be back in a moment with a look at a classic on Bogart on Movies.
It's an exciting time, but it's just the beginning.
I can do this. I can do anything.
This summer, PBS is the place for mystery.
An English woman has disappeared from the train.
I'm a good detective. A single drop can kill a man within seconds.
For discovery.
The relics appear to be those of the Buddha himself.
And for celebration.
You are a party crowd, aren't you?
All year long, support the one place that can take you any place.
Now it's time for a classic movie segment. And this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of focusing on the movie, we're going to focus on the performer, or in this case, the performers. Two comedy teams, Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello, who dominated classic Hollywood comedies from the 20s through the 50s. Skinny Englishmen Stan Laurel and overweight American Oliver Hardy were brought together by Hal Roach, who also produced, by the way, The Little Rascals. And from 1927 until 1945, they appeared in 107 movies together and more than 80 shorts. They each began in the silent era and not only survived the transition from silent movies to talkies, they thrived. They kept up their primarily visual, slapstick style of comedy into the sound era, and they were funny. Look at this bit from Bonnie Scotland, where Ollie is teaching Stan how to use snuff.
That isn't the way to use that.
That's so classic. It is so funny. They made so many wonderful movies together. Babes in Toyland, Sons of the Desert, A Haunting We Will Go. And here's some of the trailer from Way Out West.
We'll get that deed, or I'll eat your hat.
Eat it.
Their characters were basically lovable scalawags, and we fell in love with them. When I was growing up, I watched them all the time on TV. Their classic line, Ollie says to Stan,
"Well, here's another nice mess you've gotten me into."
Now, Abbott and Costello, in a way, took over for Laurel and Hardy, who made few movies after 1940. Bud and Lou came from burlesque. They first worked together in the 30s, and then in 1940, Abbott and Costello were signed by Universal for their first movie, One Night in the Tropics. That's the first film in which they did their classic Who's on First routine. Here is some of that classic comedy bit.
What's the fellas' names on the team?
Well, now let's see. We have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
That's what I want to find out.
I'm saying who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
Are you the manager?
Yes.
You know the fellas' names?
Well, I should.
Well, who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
That's what I want to find out.
That's what I'm telling you, man.
You got a first baseman?
Certainly.
Who's playing there?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Yes, who?
On first base.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Have you got a contract with the first baseman?
Well, naturally.
Who signed the contract?
Well, now, you wouldn't expect anybody else to sign it.
But who?
Yes.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it.
He does?
Yes.
Every buck?
Every buck.
He gets every buck.
Mm-hmm.
Look, all I'm trying to find out is what is the fellow's name on first base?
Oh, now, wait a minute. Let's straighten that out. What is on second
I'm
base?
not asking you who's on second.
Who is on first?
I don't know.
Oh, he's on third. Now, we're not talking about...
How did I get on third base?
You mentioned his name.
I mentioned his name.
Yes.
If I mentioned the third baseman's name, who did I say is on third?
Oh, no, who's on first?
Never mind first. I want to know what's the fellow's name on third base.
But what's on second?
Who's on second?
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third.
That's so great. Time magazine named that the #1 comedy bit of all time, and who's anybody to argue about that? Then, though, Universal signed them to a long-term contract, and their next movie, Buck Privates, would save the studio from bankruptcy and shot them to the top of the Hollywood popularity heap, where they would remain for more than a decade. Let's look at some of that Buck Privates trailer.
You're 40 years old and you're in love with a little girl, say 10 years old.
This one's gonna be a pit.
Well, wait till I finish.
Now I'm going around with a 10-year-old girl.
Wait a minute.
You got a good idea where I'm gonna wind up.
And for music, the song-stational creators of Boogie Woogie Rhythm, the top trio of radio records and screen, the Andrews Sisters.
Can't blow a note unless the bass and guitar is playing with him. He makes the company jump when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. He was the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B.
Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bingo. Quiet. Well, I had it. Never mind that.
Let's roll around. Let's roll around.
Why don't you make up your mind?
No cutting in, sorry.
The captain wants to see you at once.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Don't give me that old gang.
Wait a minute.
What?
Where's Herbie? Where's... How did you get up in that tree? How did I get up in a tree? I sat on it when it was an acorn.
Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy was nominated for a Best Song Oscar, as was Apple Blossom Time, both of them from Buck Privates. Abbott and Costello went on to make a number of comedy classics: Hold That Ghost, The Naughty 90s, the Meat Movies, Frankenstein, The Wolfman, etc., and then a classic TV show. Remember Bacall, Mr. Fields, and Stinky from the 50s TV show? Priceless. More important, the country needed both these comedy duos at different times. Abbott and Costello became a welcome distraction for the country during World War II, just as Laurel and Hardy did during the Depression years a decade before. Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, two classics. Now it's time for us to check out the Bogart on Movies mailbox. Lisa in Ontario, Canada, writes, you've mentioned that when you were a child, your mother, Lauren Bacall, had just taken off to join your father, Humphrey Bogart, in Africa for the filming of The African Queen in 1951. As you were standing on the tarmac next to Alice Hartley, your nanny, she got a heart attack and dropped dead. I can tell you that I found members of her family here in Ontario. We are distantly related. Your nanny had a photo signed and autographed by your father, and she gave it to my great-grandfather. We still have that photo, and it means a lot to us. In your mother's book, in 1980, she mentioned Alice Hartley and spoke fondly of her. I just thought you'd like to know. Thanks so much, Lisa. It was so sad about Mrs. Hartley. Of course, I don't remember that. I was only 2. But my mom always said she was the best nanny I ever had. And we went through a few after that. I've always thought that she did something to protect me out there, even as she was dying. So again, thanks so much for that email. You can email me, send me your comments and questions to stevebogart@wxel.org and include your name and your hometown. Carla's pick this week is The Attack of the Puppet People. It stars John Agar, who made a lot of really bad movies, but had the good sense to marry Shirley Temple, who had the good sense to divorce him later. It was 1958, and moviegoers must have been eager or nuts to go see someone taking a bubble bath in a coffee can. This was before Starbucks, of course, because it would be too expensive to do that now. Lather up and watch.
John Agar is the nice-looking young man, introduced by John Hoyt to pretty June Kenny. And when boy meets girl, well, they do what comes naturally. But the loss of love has made this mild-mannered man into a maniac who wants to make you a plaything. And the fearsome fact is, he knows how to do it.
Why, I'm your friend.
How would you like to be a living doll this madman can do with as he pleases? A monster his own woman had reason to flee. See, the world that the child in each of us knows. See, a baby doll take a bubble bath in a coffee can.
What are you talking about? Sally. Tell her. He said tonight he was going to kill us all.
It only takes one of us to go for help.
Feel the fantastic fear of living in a normal world, but being dwarfed by people many times your size.
For my real hit, I have a movie for you that was a launching pad to stardom for one actor. You know, sometimes, rarely maybe, but sometimes you see a performance so dominant, an actor or actress so good, you just know you're looking at a future superstar. The latest for me being Jennifer Lawrence in Winter's Bone a couple of years ago, and who won this year's Oscar for Silver Linings Playbook. Well, I spotted another future star, as did everyone else, back in 1983. The actor, Tom Cruise. The movie, Risky Business.
You got the place all to yourself? A good time, Joe. In the privacy of your own home.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
That's her. She's fantastic. Yeah.
I said listen to them by myself.
Did you have a good time last night?
I had a great time.
Today's music ain't got the same soul.
You ever get high, Joe?
Don't let me do anything stupid. Don't worry.
I like that old time rock and roll.
Who's the U-boat commander?
Don't try to take me to a disco.
I don't remember giving permission for a party, Joe.
A party?
I've got a trig midterm tomorrow, and I'm being chased by Guido, the killer pimp.
Kind of music just soothes the soul.
Doesn't anyone want to accomplish anything, or do we just want to make money?
Make money. Make a lot of money.
Do you love that scene or what? Cruise dancing in his underwear. It's priceless. You just knew this guy had it all. And make no mistake, Tom Cruise, one of my favorites, is a wonderful actor. He's shown that time and time again. And the movie was just so much fun. It had a great cast. Rebecca De Mornay, OMG, how gorgeous was she? Joey Pants, that's Joey Pantoliano. Bronson Pinchot, Curtis Armstrong, disarmingly wonderful as Miles. Great soundtrack, Bob Seger, The Boss, The Police, Talking Heads, well directed and well written by Paul Brickman. But the movie was Cruise's. I'll tell you a little story. I was at the Vanity Fair Oscars party in 1996 after my mom lost for Mirror Has Two Faces to The English Patient. She should have won. And I was standing there with Cruise's then wife, Nicole Kidman. Tom Cruise, not hobnobbing like everyone else, was at the back door, signing autographs for his young fans. He didn't have to, but there he was, giving back. Very impressive to me. I said to Nicole, they'll never give him an Oscar because they're all jealous. She just looked at me and nodded. Now, do I agree with the Scientology thing? No, but that's not my business. The guy's never been in trouble, never been busted, seems to be a good dad, and he's as hard a worker as anyone in show business, as anyone who's worked with him will agree. So enjoy this movie for what it is. As Roger Ebert called it, one of the smartest, funniest, most perceptive satires in a long time. And it's also the coming out party for an actor who would become a humongous star.